Hey there, apprentices. Quantum Tag here. I just wanted to let you guys know something. I kind of was asking Spectrum about their internet stuff because, as you all know, my internet's horrible. It's a given. I know. But I've been looking into their internet, and they have really good speeds and a really good deal on it too. Except for not my location, apparently. So I went on to ask Spectrum. I was typing out a message talking to one of the representatives, and what happened was it cut out, saying I was inactive, which I kind of was. I was in the middle of typing a message. It was kind of long, so I got disconnected. So I went back in to ask Spectrum, and I would like to talk to the representative who is Ashley B. And then I'm like, okay, launch live chat. So then I got connected, and this is how our conversation went. Thank you for contacting Spectrum. This is Jennifer. How may I assist you? I'm like, hello. I seem to have gotten cut off from my conversation with Ashley B. Could you possibly patch me in with her again? She's in sales, if I remember correctly. Thank you. Unfortunately, I'm unable to transfer chats to a specific rep. However, I can continue to assist. How may I help you? And my message was a recommendation. And I was going to recommend, hey, in my area, which is basically the boonies of Minnesota, it was a recommendation to get internet out here as fast as possible. I mean, 40 miles away, there's a city that has Spectrum services in it. So, and then another 30 miles away, there's another city that has Spectrum services in it as well. I'm like, hey, we are right in the middle. Think you could work something out? Maybe? Because there's a lot of people out here. I mean, a lot of people out here that want fast internet. Good internet. Something not like my internet. That's, at best, 2.5 megabytes a second. Now, Spectrum, with, I think, only their internet bundle or whatever, it's 60 megabytes a second. And with, TV, internet, and voice, I want to say it's 100 megabytes a second with no data caps. Which, in my opinion, that's amazing. There might be some, limit you can get to before they start slowing down your services. But, that's kind of how AT&T is working with us right now. We have unlimited internet. It's just after we get to a certain point, it starts slowing down. And earlier this month, I re-downloaded a game. It was Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which is why I haven't really been posting much episodes, as Infinite Warfare stopped working. It didn't run. Every time it ran, it showed the launching screen, and launching screen went away, pulled up a security prompt asking if I wanted to run the program. So I'm like, yeah, I want to run it. So I click yes. And it hasn't done this before, but now it started doing it. And then launching screen would pop back up. That would go away again. Security prompt would come back up again, asking me if I wanted to run the program. This happened 20 times before I decided to stop. So I'm like, okay, there must be something wrong with the files. So I have one of two options here. I'm going to validate my files and see what's going on. I did that. Did the same thing as before. So I'm like, okay, let's try re-downloading it. This is going to take up a lot of my internet, but I'm going to have to deal with it. That means I'm not going to be able to download any other games this month. Especially if it's 75 gigabytes. My God. Anyway, I re-downloaded Infinite Warfare because I enjoyed playing it. It seems like my viewers, or you guys, have been enjoying it too, here and there, even though there's only 3 episodes up. Don't blame me. Blame the game. It got screwed up. And re-downloaded the game. Did the same exact thing. That's 75 gigabytes of nothing. Nothing. And it just made me so mad. Because I wanted to keep on playing it. It was a fun game. I enjoyed playing it. And it just won't work anymore. And then there was also my New Year's stream, which was 4 hours long. And I want to say, with that all compressed, it was 7 gigabytes. Not to mention, I've been playing like games here and there on my computer. Ooh. Excuse me. Don't like yawning on camera, but sometimes you just can't help it. But anyway, I used up so much data in 7 days. 7 days out of the month that my internet now is really slow. Like, I can't play Siege anymore. I have had to take a break for the last almost week because whenever I go onto Siege, it takes a good 2 minutes to load the main screen. And then in game, my ping is on average 250 to about 1,000. That's the average. So, why? Well, because we got to a certain point with our internet usage. I got to a certain point with my internet usage that now our data or our internet has slowed down. Because that's what AT&T does. So, when I saw Spectrum not having any data caps and 100 megabytes a second, I'm like, yes, please. I'm going to have to, like, cancel some of my subscriptions on my phone, like, maybe Crunchyroll, God forbid, but, I mean, hey, if it's better internet, I might be able to keep my channel going and stuff like that. And then Pandora, I have Pandora Premium, which is nice, but now I've been spending a lot more time on SoundCloud because, well, you saw my live stream, maybe. Frosty Jr. too, that's some pretty good music there, and a lot of other artists that I listen to. But I've been spending a lot more time on that, so I'd be willing to cut my premium out just so I can just have, like, normal Pandora, just so I can save some more money. And then there's plenty other, like, subscriptions and stuff I could get rid of because I don't need to use them, that I could cut out the stuff I don't need. That way I could fully pay for an internet bill that I can only use. And if it's only me using it, then we shouldn't have any problems whatsoever. But here's the rest of my conversation. So that was basically my message. There's a lot of people out here that need better internet. And they're probably going to be willing to pay for it if it's cheap, fast, and reliable. Like, that's 3 things. That's 3 things that they need. And Spectrum has it. That's what we need, but they can't provide it to us right now. So I'm like, okay, my message is, if you can somehow pass a message up to people who put internet in places, pass the message to put internet in our location. So I'm like, well, I guess I could pass the message on. Where I live, there are a lot of people who need good internet. Unfortunately, services are not provided where I live. I see were you looking for information for the local office? I'm like, no, just a recommendation of sorts for you and your coworkers. And they're like, okay, thank you for that. I'm able to take down information. This is kind of, especially with this next message, they just put in also at the end of the chat today, there's a survey to submit feedback. This says live chat, but all these messages seem automated. Like, it scan, or like maybe an actual person is reading your messages, but then pressing a button to send an automated message. That's what my thinking is, because not once did they ask me, okay, where is the location you live in? Like, what kind of area do you live in? How close are you to certain service providers? Stuff like that. They never asked me any of that. Everything is perfectly punctuated. That might just be, like, don't take my word on it, but that just might be their company standards. Like, hey, you got to make sure everything's perfectly punctuated, stuff like that. Hey, I'm not saying that means you're a robot. I'm not, but dang, you don't have to, like, make sure every I is capitalized, or just simple stuff like that, you know? Like, hey, you're talking to a person. This is how people talk, especially on a computer. You don't type out full sentences with punctuation unless you're typing an essay or literally doing something really formal. In this case, just chat. Live chat. This isn't important. You don't have to be that professional with me. Okay. So I'm like, I don't know how much sway you have in your position, but if you were to somehow pass it along a message, Spectrum would get a lot of paying customers. And at this point, I expected them, like, hey, okay, that's a good idea. Like, where, like, at least what's your zip code? At least that. I would have expected them to ask that. You know, it's like, if you ask me that, then I'm like, oh, yeah, it's this. This is our zip code. This is the area that people want internet in. At the current moment, there's like Frontier, HughesNet, Access Minnesota, and Exceed. We used Frontier and we used Exceed. Frontier was just plain horrible because they're Frontier. Exceed was great, except internet bill was getting a bit too extreme. It was only limited to 100 gigabytes a month, but it had pretty decent speeds. Frontier, unlimited internet, of course, but the like, I think they run the same as AT&T, where they slow down your services after a while if you use too much data or whatever. But then again, their services suck. It's just like their internet's slow. Their internet is horrible. So then we started using AT&T, unlimited internet, and faster speeds than Exceed, but from what I'm seeing on Spectrum, it's not Spectrum. So that's why I'm here. That's why I was trying to talk with them. So they said, okay, I'll definitely pass that on to our supervisors. Pass what on exactly? I just said, hey, you guys could get a lot of paying customers if you ask me a question. And at this point, I'm getting a bit irked because I'm like, okay, this is not a real person talking with me. This is an automated This is an automated thing, a machine. They're not actually there. Maybe the person is there just pressing a button, like I previously stated. So they asked me, what else can I assist you with today? Yeah, just a little thing. How may I help? One moment. Sure. And I remember browsing on Know Your Meme. You might see this up in my web browser, but I went to Know Your Meme, and I found this godly question. Has anyone really been far even as decided to use even go want to do look more like? So I copied this, and I sent it to them. Now, I expected something along the lines of them asking, what? Like, WT, replying appropriately with a meme, that would have been great. No, they replied with, they replied with, I apologize, will you please clarify? Which could kind of maybe be an actual person talking, but it just doesn't seem human, especially in this day and age. I'm saying, sorry, just testing if your replies seem automated, which they seem like they have been. Which I would have expected a reply saying, oh no, you're actually talking to a person. I'm an actual person. No, they put, I see you are speaking with the live chat department. Which makes me think Spectrum is a bit broken. Internally and externally. Well, maybe internally only. I don't know it exactly externally yet if I ever do use Spectrum, which at this current moment in time I'm probably not gonna be able to because they don't provide service to my location. And like when I tried making an account, it's like, oh, you must have, or like Spectrum, when I try to make myself an account, it's like, oh, in order to make an account, you have to have an account. I'm like, what? And that was my first conversation with someone. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to make a account. And it's like, okay, in order to create a username, you have to have an account. I'm like, okay, I want to make an account. And it's like, okay, to make an account, you have to have this and this and this and this and this, which comes only if you have this service of Spectrum. I'm like, okay. And when I previously was looking at getting Spectrum and stuff, I punched in a normal, or an address where service was, and it's like, oh, you have to have an account in order to go further. I'm like, oh, I want to buy something, and you aren't letting me do it. Oh. Alright, but after that point, I'm like, is there any... Okay, so they ask, is there anything else that I can help with today? They didn't even go back to, like, what's the word? It kind of rebuttal my statement. Like, yo, you are sounding like a robot. Like, you're not gonna say anything about that? Like, really? What is this? I'm like, okay, but okay, my internet lagged a little bit here. My message of "but am I though" was to the "you are speaking with the live chat department," and then not 3 seconds after that I sent that message, it came up with this one, and then it came up with this one. Due to current inactivity length, this chat session will be ended, or will close, or whatever. So, maybe there was a real person, but because I kept on poking them, like, yo, you're not real, they're like, okay, I'm just gonna close the chat, because this guy is either one, toying with me, or he's just getting angry, which both are true. Also, like, about the whole feedback, I never received any sort of feedback survey thing on here. So, they lied to me. They didn't help me. And they lied about it being an actual live chat. So, some of you may have had this problem before as well, but here I am showing you in depth of how bad that is. So, hope you enjoyed my little Spectrum rant. All that fun 20 minutes for me. I may have to cut this down a bit, but hey, That's just me trying to help, like, further my channel along, make it so I can do live streams like every week. That would be amazing, especially if I have fast internet. It's like, oh, you won't have any lag, man, you're fine. But no, Spectrum doesn't want to help me. They would have had a paying customer, one, if they had service in my area. Two, if they listened to me, listened to my recommendation about putting service in my area. And I forgot where I was going for a third one, but I had a third one. Don't doubt me, but I had a third one. It just... I'm just irked. I'm irked. Really? Spectrum's a billion-dollar company, and they can't help me. They just... And... whatever. Hey. I enjoyed messing with a robot today. That's the peak of my day. Whatever. If they don't want a paying customer, or paying potential customer, or paying potential town of people that want internet, go. I don't care. I don't care anymore. I don't care. That's me. So, hope you enjoyed my little rant, because I enjoyed ranting. Sometimes you just gotta rant to things. Like, sometimes it's just really stupid. It's really stupid. But hope you enjoyed. See you guys next time. I'm Quantum Tag. Tag out.